The following program is classified G. It's suitable for all ages.
Good evening and welcome to Business Best. This is a platform where we showcase the best in the business, and we will be introducing to you people who have excelled in their particular field in order to showcase their latest developments in their respective industry. Now today on the show, I feel this program will be useful for all the athletes and sportsmen out there who are just, looking for a platform to showcase their ability and talent, and they just couldn't find the avenues for it. So I believe the business which we are going to talk about today will be very useful for them. So with that, I would like to introduce Sanjaya Ganlath, who is the founder of the Sports Manager. And the Sports Manager is also, I feel, is the first sports agency which I have come across in Sri Lanka as well. Sanjay, thank you very much for joining with us.
Thank you very much for having me today, and I'm very glad to be here and to tell about our business to everyone who's looking forward to.
All right, Sanjay. So now, according to my knowledge, you used to do hospitality management. You studied hospitality, and you were a sportsman yourself.
Yes.
And so what made you want to get into the business industry and start something like this?
So basically, I actually studied tourism and hospitality, and I'm a graduate in tourism and hospitality. But I have been playing basketball for probably the last 17 years. And I started playing when I was 5 years old, so that was a platform that I started playing. And my family is like a background where my brothers play basketball, my father is a coach, so I think sports never left me. And with the situation in the world that's going on, the tourism and hospitality industry is a bit down. So this is something that I was looking for, and I did a lot of research when it comes to this industry. So with that, I thought maybe this is where I need to fill that gap here in Sri Lanka to help the athletes, to help the sports industry in Sri Lanka.
Right, Sanjay. What was exactly the gap that you mentioned that you found out?
The gap was that most of the athletes were not able to connect or market themselves to brands. So that was the main reason why we started it. And we as athletes before, we didn't have this platform where we were educated saying, okay, this is how you should be marketing yourself as a sportsman, or this should be the way that you should be marketing yourself as a sportswoman. So that was the gap that we saw, and we saw, like, other than a couple of sports here in Sri Lanka, the other sports were a bit backwards, and the value that they've got in the sports industry is very less. So that was the gap we wanted to fill by talking about the sports that's not popular here in Sri Lanka, and also to give more opportunity for all the athletes.
So I would say it's similar to an artist management firm, but for sportsmen.
Yes, it is.
Could you tell a little bit more about the Sports Manager? What are the other platforms that you all have for the athletes?
The Sports Manager is actually, as you said, it's the first sports agency in Sri Lanka, and also we cater to a various amount of sports here in Sri Lanka. So other than that, what we do is we connect brands to sportsmen and sportswomen, and then also we organize certain sports related events in Sri Lanka which is not been there. Especially if you take, we now have a really good cricket league, we have a good football league, we have a good rugby league, whereas we see there are more other sports that we need to make this more professional. So that was that are like the services that we offer in our business. So mainly when it comes to that, organizing sports events and connecting brands. Also one thing that is beneficial for athlete is that we have a group of people who are from overseas that's willing to help these athletes. So there are sports academies in the world, there are sports agents in the world, and also there are sports teams in the world that's looking for good athletes. So this platform is where we are going to provide these athletes to get that opportunity, to get that exposure in the international arenas as well.
All right, Sanjay. So I feel that this business was opened up recently, I would say probably last year?
Yes, yes.
In the midst of the pandemic as well?
Yes, yes.
Would you say that that time period was a very challenging time period for you, or did it actually open up an avenue for you to think about it?
I'll be honest, because I mean, if you see the world and the current situation, everybody faced challenges during this situation, and I wouldn't say that we did not. But we made this time a useful time for us to learn more about this industry, because this was not something existing in Sri Lanka. We had to go through certain rules. We need to follow certain Olympic rules when it comes to branding athletes. So we basically did a lot of research during this time, and that was the challenging part here for us, where the what do you call, how do you say it, so the information was not there here. So we had to do a lot of research to how are we going to implement this in Sri Lanka. So likewise, we did a lot of research when it comes to that.
Alright, so when you started, what was the main challenge that you faced? Because of course this is the first sports agency that you've ever opened up, and in Sri Lanka itself. So what were the main challenges that you faced?
The main challenges, I would say, as aspect of an athlete, they were not aware of this. And also we had to educate them about this to get that knowledge as to, this is my brand. I am a branded athlete here in Sri Lanka. So it was very hard to sometimes convince people that there is a certain thing like this where you could become a professional. So that was one of the most challenging things, and one of the things that we really went through. And other than that, the sports industry in Sri Lanka is massive, and the opportunities that you have is not being highlighted here, and it is not being identified. So we wanted to make sure that it is being identified and given the opportunity to the right people.
That's so true. I would like to agree with you on that, because the athletes we see nowadays, like the young children, they have the opportunity for them in schools, probably in sports meets or house meets or something like that, and the opportunity is then again they have to find out more, probably join a sports club in their universities or something like that. So I appreciate for you starting up this business as well. Now when you opened this up, what was the response you actually received from clients? Was it a good response, or did you actually expect something bad?
I would say that we received both, like positive and negative comments both, whereas more it was positive, because it was not existing in, this was an industry that was there, but these opportunities were not existing. So we had a lot of positive people, like saying that I want to be a part of this, it's something great that you've started, and those were like the main positive comments that came across. But also when it comes to negative comments, like something that was mostly asked was that how are we going to do this with the situation, and then how do we learn about this. So those kind of things were like the negative things that we really received.
That thought of doubt.
Yes, thought of doubt was like major.
Right.
But I would say positive was the main responses we got.
When coming to that thought of doubt, how did you manage that trust issues with your clients or with your sponsors? What were some of the strategies that you used in order to gain their trust and assure that you can provide a very good service as they expect as well?
When it comes to sponsors, I would say that we mostly used our connections, like our parents and all the people who were around us. They were the one who connected us to a lot of sponsors, and also people who really believed in us. They were not hesitating to really come on board with this this platform. So in that way, that was the strategy that we used when it came to sponsors. Athletes, we spoke to a lot of athletes. I mean, I would have spoke to more than 25 to 30 athletes before I got 5 athletes on board, whereas they believed in the concept, and some of them have already got international exposure, and they knew that this industry was there in those countries, so they were really willing to come on board with us. So in that way, we are lucky that we have like a very good bunch of people who really believe in us.
Alright, Sanjay, so with that we'll have to hold your thought on that, and we'll have to go into a short commercial break. We'll be back soon. You're watching Business Best. Welcome back to Business Best, and we are in discussion with Sanjaya Ganlath, who's the founder of the Sports Manager. And I think, Sanjay, our audience also got a very good idea about what the Sports Manager is all about. Now, in the first segment, something that you told me was Sri Lanka here. We are actually giving prominence to only cricket, rugby, football per se, and a very few sports. So what do you think about all our sportsmen here in Sri Lanka and the talent we have here? Do you think there are sportsmen here in Sri Lanka available for other sports as well?
When it comes to those three sports, I would say that the way that they have positioned themselves in the market is why they are very popular. Like, you know, if you take cricket, the position that they have when it comes to brands, you know, people like to, you know, watch cricket. So that is the way that they position. But when it comes to your question, like, we have seen a lot of talented athletes here in Sri Lanka, and like we've previously we've had Olympians, we have Olympic medals from, you know, from different sports. So I think there is a many bunch of people who are really, you know, lacking the part of this type of education as to how they are going to market themselves. Even when it comes to certain sports, I feel that if we really, you know, help these people to position those sports in the right places and then give the right value to those sports, Sri Lanka definitely will be, you know, in the top ranks in the future.
So you think marketing plays a very important role when it comes to sports also?
Yes, it is.
So what are the platforms that the Sports Manager offers in order for them to market themselves, or do you all have any workshops to make them aware about what's happening? What are those?
So when it comes to athletes, we have certain workshops when it with like social media workshops, how to brand themselves, and then especially one thing that we really lack in our sportsmen in Sri Lanka is the mentality. So mindset actually plays a 70% role of your sports career. So that is something that these athletes need to be educated as to, you know, you can be like, you know, the best athlete, but if your values, your mindset is not, you know, the same as, like, say, a athlete can, you know, be in the grounds in the morning and then they might be, you know, partying in the night. So that is not the mentality that an athlete needs to have. So this is what we are trying to educate to the athletes as to this is how you should be, and this is how you brand yourself as like a very disciplined, a very consistent athlete. So these are the type of main things that we are currently doing, but we are in the future we are trying to look on to educating these people as to what professional sports is, and like, you know, talk to different agents abroad for them to speak to these athletes and tell them, you know, there is a platform like this and you can really come and perform. So we are trying to do that in the future, but at the moment we've succeeded in when it comes to, you know, branding them on social media and all that.
So how many athletes do you have with y'all so far, and what are some of their success stories that y'all have made them come?
Actually we have 5 athletes, and 2 of them are track and field athletes, and 1 is a triathlete, and 2 basketball players. And currently they are, I would say that they are the best in what they are doing, and we believe in them that, you know, someday that with our guidance that they'll reach to the next level of their sports career. Two of the successful athletes that we have right now is Praneeth Udumalagala, who's a basketball player, and also Yupun Abekon, the Olympian. So their success story is not something that, like, you know, within a year we can't, you know, tell them what to do, but they have, you know, brought in the sense like they have carried their path right now to a certain level. Now it is for us to help them to get to the next level. So we are doing our best to, you know, help these 2 guys, and I mean, talking to them, their mindset is something very different when it comes to comparing to other athletes here in Sri Lanka. So like, you know, from waking up in the morning to, you know, looking at their nutrition. Like we have an athlete who takes a scale every time he goes out to eat. So that is the commitment that an athlete needs to have when you're a professional athlete. So that is what we are trying to, you know, deliver to the other athletes also. This is the mindset, this is the discipline that you need to have when you want to become a great athlete.
Do you think there's a particular reason why the mindset of the sportsmen here in Sri Lanka are not as strong enough as we expect it to be?
I would say lack of motivation is the main reason for them to have their mindset really down, because they feel like not having a sponsor, that they might not be able to go forward, or like they might give up. So these two athletes, even without us, they have come a long way now, and that is because of their mindset, the discipline that they had to believe in themselves. Like, they've done a lot of sacrifices, I would say. Both of them, like, not just two of them, all of them, like they train every day. That's a lot of sacrifice. So I believe that the current athletes here in Sri Lanka has a little bit of lack of motivation, and they feel like there might not be opportunity. So we are trying to create that for them, and then give that proper mindset for them to move forward.
Right, Sanjay. Now, you have been a sportsman yourself. You're coming from a sports background, with your father being a coach as well. Have you ever regretted not continuing sports and joining business?
At a certain time I did, but being with these people, it's like I get the same feeling as a sportsman, because I go to go for their events, and then I get to cheer for them, then that feeling is still there. So there is nothing that I would regret stopping sport, but I really believe in these guys and where they can go. So I mean, it's like me following my passion. So I feel motivated when I see them every day training. So I don't think I'll regret stopping sports.
As you said, I think we never had these avenues when we were schooling or when we were at university, and I'm glad that you opened up this platform as well for the athletes coming up. So now, when you started this business, you said this is the first sports agency which was opened up, and you obviously would have had a lot of support from external sources as well. What kind of support did you receive?
I would say my team, they have been very supportive. I mean, I read this thing which said you need to have the right people to support your idea, right? For a good business to become a great business, you need to have the right people with you. So I believe that my support system is my team, the parents of each and every one of us who had been supportive, connecting us to their people, their friends, and then all the businessmen that they know. So that is the main support system that I have had to so far to become the first sports agency, and it's not easy to convince anyone. So these people are the ones who've been very supportive to me when it comes to the business, and I would really be like on public, I would thank them to being there for this.
Okay. Now, when you're handling athletes, you specifically need to give personal attention to each and everyone, because they have different capabilities, different abilities, so you need to cater them individually.
Yes.
So do you have the capacity to provide that individual attention to each and everyone, and what kind of training group or team do you have to facilitate this?
Yeah, for an example, I don't even switch off my phone in the night, because I want to be there for these guys. So I got myself certified as a sports agent from a US institute, and that actually had helped me to gain a lot of knowledge when it comes to athlete management. So in that way, I know that I have to be there for them 24 hours, 365 days a year, and I'm always like one call away. When they talk, then they call me. So in that capacity, I am more of the person who likes to be with people. So I enjoy it, and also I love talking to them, listening to their inspiring stories, the problems that they have. They always speak to me. So in that way, we have the capacity to help these people, and also being educated in this platform is another benefit for me to provide what they need. So in that way, I mostly manage the athlete management part, and also my team, they help us with like getting on board with sponsors, making proposals, speaking to different brands each and every day. So in that way, we are trying to build this platform where we get all the sportsmen. Like, you know, when it comes to sports, there are so many people related to sports: coaches, physios, nutritionists, and then masseurs. Even the fans are a part of our community. So we want to build that thing where we are a sports hub for each and every person to be a part of.
Right, Sanjay. I believe we are coming to the end of our program as well. If you could give me a quick answer about, you know, the benefits these athletes will gain from joining the Sports Manager and what your final vision is.
Yeah, so when it comes to benefits, I would say that we don't recruit every athlete that speaks to us. We go through a certain research as to their performance, you know, how they are disciplined about their sport right now. So when it comes to, you know, registering with us, we have a process where we thoroughly go through their background. And when it comes to future plans, I think we want to make Sri Lanka, you know, in the top in the sports industry in Sri Lanka, where we have talent. It's just a matter of fact that we have to educate these people to be in the right places, to go and to find the right opportunities. And when it comes to the vision, we want to be the #1 here in Sri Lanka, and also to provide each and every athlete the opportunity to play a big role in the sports industry.
Right. Again, Sanjay, thank you very much for joining with us on the show tonight, and I wish you all the very best. And I hope that athletes out there will see this program and get enrolled with the Sports Manager as well. Again, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
And that was the end of today's episode of Business Best. Join us again next week with a brand new service or product that will be showcasing to you that will interest you. And just in case if you have missed this program on air, you can always rewatch this on our YouTube page, youtube.com/Derana English. Until then, stay safe. Good night. I'm Suzanne Shinali.